Let's press record. So we're recording now. How are you doing, Miss McGill?
I'm good. I'm good. There's a lot going on this side. But other than that, I'm making it.
That's good. So
Yeah.
I really wanted to just address standard one for the upcoming week.
Yes, ma'am.
And also like the expectation of what should be seen. Um, I know the first video is more of a baseline. I have gathered that, so I'll be able to submit that once I edit it. It should be to you this weekend, if not by Monday, because I'm not going in Monday. I'm off. So I'll be able to get that loaded up so you can view it and post it. But I see there's a couple things for understanding learning, meeting student needs, and collaboration with families and others. So those are the three things I'm assuming is going to be observed in week one's video.
Yes. And I can tell you a lot of people kind of get hicked up on that collaboration with the family piece. So I just had some questions for you to kind of think about as you're kind of going into that. What have you thought about what that would look like in that lesson? Like what steps are you thinking about, implementing so that I can see the collaboration with families?
That I'm not gonna have in the first lesson. It is hard to do the collaboration with family, but I will express, if I was able to, what that would look like. In this lesson, it is the students are being exposed to real-time board for the first time. They're having to do some peer collaboration in that video for week one with the lesson. And I am addressing the social, emotional learning for that piece by having the students peered, not based on ability. So I'm blending my different dynamics with my proficient students, my advanced students, and my below students, as well as my students that receive special services through SPED and ELL. So they'll be blended in separate groups, not grouped by ability. So that is one of the ways that I'm touching on that standard, as well as I will be providing a handout to parents about our upcoming curriculum that we're going to be implementing. So that would be one of the ways that I communicate with families. So I will provide a handout as to what will be submitted to parents for signature as my way to communicate about what we're learning in the class.
What is the particular topic, or what is the lesson on?
The lesson is on slope, and they're learning about linear slope, about linear relationships and linear relationships and proportional linear relationships. So they're having to make that distinction that something can be linear and not have a proportional relationship, but if it has a proportional relationship, it is linear and it goes through the origin.
So one thing to think about, and you can tell me, well, you can kind of think about it and see how this will look, right? Because I know that you said that you're sending something out to the parents for them to sign, but when it comes to your video, I only get maybe 15 to 20 minutes to kind of really, gather all of that for that first standard. What if some of their homework, maybe prior to the lesson, was to maybe bring in a picture of something that may be sloping in their household, or something to kind of bring that home piece into the classroom. I feel like maybe some would probably hit the let me go back to the rubric. Will probably hit you in that 3 or 4 range, Because a lot of times, most candidates, especially even when I was in, that collaboration with the family piece, especially in a quick video, is very, very like difficult. So I had to think outside of the box as far as like what could I give them prior to that I could relate to the lesson where maybe, obviously we would have to collaborate with a family member for them to bring it in. So you're on the right track with the homework piece as far as like that letter to give out, but just something that's a little bit more visible, I guess, or
That can work.
thinking more outside the box in that nature. You know what I mean?
Actually, that can work because I can task them to email that to me, and I can make that part of my reflection and insert those pictures that they sent me into my reflection piece. Okay, so I will definitely
Nice.
do that. That works. Now I'm not in on Monday, so I'm gonna have to talk to them on Tuesday. So I probably won't get it till Tuesday night if they remember, hopefully. But I will harass them. So
Okay.
hopefully I'll get it Tuesday night and I can add it on my reflection before you see it. But I like that. That's excellent. Um, and I know we have standard 2 coming up, and I touched on that a bit, so that kind of worked out. But I did have one question for you, and then I'm going to go ahead and let you go because I know you're busy. Looking ahead, because there's a lot of standards and there's an awful lot of pages about all of these standards, what was one of the standards that you had the most difficult time with outside of just the parenting communication part?
I would honestly say standards 1 through 3.
Okay.
Because 1 through 3 is the learner and the learning.
Okay.
So it was hard pressed about the kids. And sometimes that's very difficult to show in specific lessons, depending on whatever your pacing is, whatever, the district reprimands are. Well, not reprimands, but the things that they're asking you to kind of cover as well. So when I think about like overall, like the entire rubric, standard 1, the student development piece, learning differences as well was a little difficult. And it wasn't the entire standard, but it was just certain pieces. For instance, I don't have language learners in my building, right? So that population is kind of non-existent in my classroom.
Right.
So it was, how do I show this when I don't have it?
Right.
And my coach at the time, she gave me some things to kind of think about as well. Think about the differentiations that I do have, or the special education students that I do have, and what would I do differently, and how could I do a little bit more research to apply that to the ELL learners? You know what I mean?
Well, I know for me, for lesson 2, or standard 2, I actually am going to do a graffiti walk, and it has you doing images, questions, or computation is where I'm doing it to make it geared towards math. So one of the images, because my students love soccer, so one of the images was going to be a table, and they're going to have to draw a graph or make an inferences between the 2 graphs, the table and the graph, and give a connection. But it was going to reference soccer.
Nice.
One of my questions was going to be, because a lot of my cohort, my little group of students, it's only 2 males, but I have 6 females, and they cook with mom. So one of the things we were going to talk about is, because we're talking about how to make something a proportional linear relationship, I wanted them to give me a recipe, but we're going to talk about ratios. So I'm going to ask a question that gears them to talk about creating me a ratio, and hopefully it will guide them to, oh, well, I cook with mom and you make pupusas, and getting in that dynamic of the different cultures and the things that they do. So I have plans for that, which will be differentiated, but with the instruction, because my groups will be blended. Um, they'll be ready to learn, develop me appropriate instruction, because they'll be doing a walk around, and they're each going to have each group has a different color sticky. So as they look at the different graffiti walk posters, they're supposed to make their statements on a sticky note as a group and post it on the board. So
Okay.
then that'll give us a visual, give us something they can learn. And it's going to give multi perspectives because I do plan on trying to find something that will help my sped students or my male population because it's only two. So I want to do something that's going to be geared towards them. But I know that they both come from a French culture. So I want to try to bring something in that applies to that. And then that will address also my SPED students, and I have an ELL student in my little cohort. So
Okay.
I'm trying to hit all the dynamics because Standard 2 seems to have quite a few pages.
Yeah.
But I do see how that is very important. So that's how I wanted to address the standard for 2, and that was to do the graffiti walk. And learning environment is standard 3. So I'm not sure if you can come up. I know we have a couple of weeks for that one. So if we talk next time, if you can kind of give me some ideas on how to bring standard 3 into my video some,
Yeah.
I would appreciate that because that one, my learning environment is I'm just me. And
Right.
I
Right.
place my standards. I have my expectations of my students, and they know what I expect, and they respect me enough that they deliver. So I don't have a lot of issues in the class when it comes to classroom management. I don't
Mhm.
use a red, yellow, green system. I don't write names on the board. I just don't do that. It's like you follow directions or we call home, and
Well
that
then,
works.
right. Well then, there's other things out there. There's something called the no nonsense nurturer,
Mhm.
which is a management tool, but it's very I don't want to say, what is it, reverse psychology, but it's kind
Mhm.
of like that, where you praise more of the children who are doing what they're supposed to do,
Right.
and in hopes that the kids that are off task will get on task. So that is a behavior management style, right? That is a behavior management tool. It's not something as, you know, hangman, let's see who's going to spell detention first type of thing, but
Right.
it is a system. And we can definitely talk about that. I do want to kind of put into your ear, thinking about standard number 9 and 10, which is the professional responsibility, professional development piece.
Okay.
Um, I would also kind of be working on that as well, whether that's going to district PDs and, you know, videoing some stuff at district PDs, whether that's taking pictures and stuff like that, just gathering that data now, because when it comes down to that, it's about how you continue to learn as a, you know, as a professional learner, and
Right.
what are you doing to expand yourself as a teacher. So a lot of times mentees wait to the last minute, and it's like, oh man, I've done all this stuff, but I didn't take pictures and things of that nature, you know. So
Right.
just, you know, making sure that you kind of are thinking kind of like backwards planning a little bit,
Right.
just also thinking about the end um in mind as well.
Yeah, because we do have a district PD coming up, so I'll definitely make
Mhm.
sure to record and take some videos or pictures at least so I can put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is coming up for us, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any conferences that you go to, anything that you present at, or online webinars, all of that is your professional responsibility to learning. And that's all in that as well. So
Oh,
it's not just, you know, PDs as well. So
well, you
anything
know
that you
what?
do, you know, on
That
outside.
it's interesting you said that. I'm so glad you did because I actually had a video sent to me from Great Minds, which is the Eureka model that we use. And they're doing
Right.
PD's webinars this week coming up.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'll be able to sit in on that and make that part of the week 9 lesson. So that works. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know.
Woo-hoo.
Now I'm going to go
You're
register.
welcome. You're welcome. Well, I have students coming in.
All righty. It was
All
good
right.
talking to you. And
I know. I'm so glad. Look, I'm so glad we finally got this right, right?
yeah, exactly. I was like, what? Are you serious? When I saw that, I said, wait a minute, Nicole. But it's all good. You know, we all learn as we go along.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, and I will be talking to you later this week. Enjoy Paris.
Thank
Have a
you. Thank
blast.
you.
Don't
Will
think of
do.
me. Don't think of teach now. Don't think of work. Just call your kid and your husband and say, "Hey, I'm alive," and enjoy
That's it.
yourself.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
You have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.